So welcome to part 2 of my spinning tutorial, because I may or may not have realized that if it was all going to be in part 1, it was going to be really long. So we've just been introduced to the concepts of timing and direction. We know some terminology like inspin, antispin, petals, flowers, and we've also gone through some inspin patterns. So in part 2 of this tutorial, we're going to go over some anti-spin flower patterns. First, I want to go over our 4-petal anti-spin flower. Here, our arm will be using the diamond pathway from our last tutorial. To learn this flower, our arms are going to be moving in a clockwise direction, while our fans are moving in an anti-clockwise direction. Now let's start with a single fan pointing to the top corner of our diamond. Now use a dynamic grip to let your fan rotate anti-clockwise and downwards as you bring your arm clockwise to this side corner of our diamond, where you can re-grip. Continue the anti-clockwise motion of your fan with another dynamic grip change, now with your arm moving to this bottom corner. At this point, we can re-grip again. We now use a static grip as we rotate our fan anti-clockwise and outwards until our arm is at 180 degrees again, this time going across our body. To complete our flower, use a dynamic grip change once more to rotate your fan anti-clockwise and upwards. You will now be at your original position. Now, try this with both hands and in both directions. Now I'm going to go over how to do this pattern with 2 arms, with both our fans and our arms moving in split time same direction. First, start with your left arm pointing down while your right arm points up. Now, using a dynamic grip in the way we just went over, simultaneously anti-spin your fans to the side corners of your diamond. Do the same again to reach the top and bottom corners. Now, the next bit is a little bit tricky, but we can do it. In order to reach the next part of our flower, our arms will have to move across our body, just as they did when we used one hand. Here, our top arm will anti-spin downwards and across with the dynamic grip remaining on top, while our bottom arm will use a static grip to move upwards and across. If you find you're getting tangled, try starting the anti-spin earlier in order to create a little more space between your fans. From here, our arms will have to uncross in order to get back to our original position. To do so, your top arm will use a static grip, while your bottom arm will use a dynamic grip. And that's our split time, same direction, clockwise 4-petal anti-spin flower. Woo! As your anti-spin flower gets smoother, the re-grips will become smaller and you can eventually remove them so that your flower occurs in a fluid, single dynamic grip motion. In the meantime, I think it still looks nice to pause at each corner of our diamond, especially if we do it with purpose. Now, let's go over anti-spin and extension hybrid. Hybrids being patterns that combine multiple kinds of moves. We now know how to do an anti-spin, so let's look at how an extension works. With palms facing outwards, let's start at the bottom of our big circle pathway we explored last tutorial. Now, fully extended, start moving along this pathway in the direction of the arm you are using. You'll notice that you'll eventually get stuck. So at this point, you'll have to switch your grip by rotating your hand 360 degrees inside the ring of your fan, so that your palms are facing outwards once more. You can now complete the circle. Be sure that your fingers are only in the ring of the fan when you do this, and not poking through any other parts of the frame to avoid getting tangled. And now let's combine. First, start with arms crossed and palms facing outwards, with our right arm on top. As your top fan anti-spins upwards to the top corner of our diamond, start an extension with your bottom fan, leading with the wick pointing downwards. However, to reach this bottom corner, you'll need to switch the grip. Now your top fan can complete the remaining petals of the anti-spin flower, while your bottom fan continues to extend. Try to hit the corners of our diamond at the same time with your arms, so that they're always making a straight line. Here, you'll finish with arms crossed once more, only now your arms will have switched places. We're ready to repeat the same pattern, but this time the arm originally performing the extension will be doing the anti-spin flower, and the arm originally anti-spinning will be performing the extension. Now, if your brain is hurting a little bit from this, I understand. We can also do an anti-spin cap for an easier variation of this hybrid, as we no longer have to switch the grip in the extension. A cap that is a continuous assembly pattern refers to a family of moves where our arm moves in this arc pattern. Starting with one arm pointing up and the other arm pointing down, anti-spin your top fan to the bottom point, as your bottom fan extends to the top. Once your arms have switched places, you are ready to change direction and repeat the pattern on the other side. So well done guys, we've made it to the end, and I've put some useful resources in the description, so don't forget to check them out. And remember, you can always ask me any questions or say any comments you have in the section below, or on my Instagram, jessy.spin, or Facebook page, JESSYSPINS. And guys, once you start to get a hang of some of these patterns, think about what moves you can combine them with in my past tutorials. I always like to look out for moments where I can transition between moves. So for example, if my palms are facing outwards, I think, what other moves start in this way? Or if I want my palms to be like this, what do I need to do with my fans to get there? And that's it. Thanks guys, see you next time.